Sometimes when we're solving quadratic equations, we really don't want to know what the solutions are. Sometimes we just want to know, are there any solutions and how many solutions are there, especially in a real life situation. So what we're going to be doing is discovering the discriminant. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to use the discriminant to determine the number of solutions a quadratic function has. All right, in the quadratic formula, the expression b squared minus 4ac. So the part inside of the square root is called the discriminant. And if you're used to that word, it discriminates what type of answer you're going to get. When we use the discriminant, if we get a positive answer, what that is going to mean is there are going to be two solutions. The graph of this, the graph if we were to graph the parabola that we would get, it would end up crossing through that x-axis 2 times. So there are 2 solutions when we do that. Okay, if the b squared minus 4ac is negative, we will get 0 solutions. And what that means when we go to graph that, we're going to get a negative underneath the square root, and you can't have a negative underneath the square root. We're going to get a picture that looks something like that. This graph never touches the x-axis, so that's why there are no solutions. And then if the value of the discriminant is equal to 0, there is going to be 1 solution. And what that would look like on a graph, if you were to graph the parabola, it would touch the x-axis just at 1 spot. And so that's what we're looking for, is just how many times does it touch, how many times does it touch the ground, and so forth. Alright, so let's do a few problems. I'm going to again write up here the discriminant, which is just the b squared minus 4ac, so you don't have to do the whole formula to decide this, just the inside of the square root. This says to tell whether the equation has 2 solutions, 1 solution, or no solution, and we're going to put a 2 in that first blank. Number one thing I do want to check is to make sure it is written in standard form. It is, so we're good to go. My a is 3, my b is 8, and my c is 2. And then we're just going to do b squared, which will be 64, minus 4 times the a times the c. Okay, if you would like to at this point in time, you could definitely just use your calculator to get this entire answer. And when we do that, we get 40. Since I got a positive answer, I know that there are going to be 2 solutions. If I were to graph this parabola, it would touch the x-axis in 2 places. All right, let's try the next one. We have x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0. Again, it's written in standard form, so I'm set to go. My a is 1, because remember, if nothing is in front of the x squared, it's a 1. b is 2, and c is negative 1. And then when I go to do the discriminant, it's going to be b squared. Well, 2 squared is 4, minus 4 times a times c. And if I were to plug that all into my calculator, I end up getting 8. So once again, that is a positive value. There are going to be 2 solutions to that problem. All right, the next one, it says to find the number of zeros of the following functions. Well, when it's asking to find the number of zeros, it's asking to find out how many times this equation equals 0. So, and that would be how many times does it touch the x-axis as well. So if we have the function f of x equals 4x squared plus 20x plus 25, to get how many times it's going to equal 0, we're just going to, instead of f of x, we're going to set it equal to 0. Now this problem looks just like the problem that we did in number 2. So I notice that this problem is in standard form, which is good. So my a is 4, my b is 20, my c is 25. So when I do b squared, I'm going to get 400 minus 4 times my a times my c. And if I work that all out, I'm going to get 0 as my answer. Since I get 0 as my answer, I know that there is 1 solution. In this case, it says find the number of zeros. There's 1 0. There's one place where this problem will equal 0. Okay, I'm going to let you pause the video at this point in time. Well, actually, I think I would like to do this one with you because we're missing the b. So don't pause it. Let's just work it together. F of x equals 4x squared plus 1. First thing we're going to do, we want to know where does it equal 0, so we're just going to cross off the f of x and put equals 0. And now it is in standard form, however, we are missing that middle term. So a is going to be 4, b is missing, so we're going to put 0 for that one, and then c is 1. Okay, so now we're ready to do the discriminant. It's b squared, which would be 0, minus 4 times my a value times my c value. And when I do that, I'm going to get negative 16. This gives me a negative answer, and negative answers have no solution. So when it says find the number of zeros, there are no zeros. There's no place where this equation will equal 0. Right, the next one, it says find the number of x-intercepts of the graph of y equals x squared plus 7x minus 6. Okay, so what we are going to do in this one, find the number of x-intercepts. Same thing again, where does this equation equal 0? So I'm going to get this started for you, and then I will let you pause the video and find an answer. So again, if we want to find out where this equation equals 0, we're just going to cross out the y and put 0 there. So I have 0 equals x squared plus 7x minus 6. Okay, so now I would like you to pause the video and see if you can figure out your answer, and then come back when you're done. All right, it is in standard form. I have a 1 in front of the x squared, so my a is going to equal 1. My b will equal 7, and my c will equal negative 6. So when I go to do b squared, I am going to get 49 minus 4 times a times c. And when I do that, I am going to get 73, I believe, and that turned out to be a positive answer. And since my answer is positive, we know that there are going to be 2 solutions. And in this specific case, it says find the number of x-intercepts, so there are 2 x-intercepts. That means that this graph is going to cross the x-axis 2 times. Right, let's try one more example where it's actually a real-life situation. The arc of a baseball hit into the outfield can be modeled by the function y equals negative 0.005 x squared plus 1.2x plus 20. Where x is the horizontal distance in feet that the baseball travels and y is the height of the baseball. Does the ball reach a height of 100 feet? Okay, so we want to know that probably maybe someone that's building a ballpark would want to know, do they have their distances set up right for their baseball field? So what we are going to do, I'm going to write down this formula, y equals negative 0.005 x squared plus 1.2x plus 20. We want to know, will it ever reach a height of 100 feet? And it told us that y is the height, so we're actually going to be plugging the 100 in for the y. Now, we're not allowed to find the discriminant unless the equation equals 0, so the first thing that I'm going to do is get rid of this 100 by subtracting 100 from both sides, and just notice that over on this side, I put it over with the one that doesn't have an x as well. So we're going to get 0 equals negative 0.005 x squared plus 1.2x, and then 20 minus 100 will be negative 80. Right, now we are set to find the discriminant. A is going to equal negative 0.005, b will equal 1.2, and c will equal negative 80. So when I do b squared, 1.2 squared is 1.44 minus 4 times the a value times the c value. Okay, and when I do that, I'm going to end up getting negative 0.16. So I got a negative answer, which means there's no solution. So I just need to make sure I've answered my question. It says, does the ball reach a height of 100 feet? Well, I did not get a solution, so my answer is no, the ball does not reach a height of 100 feet. So hopefully now you can use the discriminant to determine how many solutions a quadratic equation has.